The question is simple. How many young people are actively saving for their retirement? The truth, however, is often much harder to swallow. Consider this story, not one of prosperity or perfect planning, but one of struggle, sacrifice, and a bitter reality faced by millions of working Americans. At 73 years old, an individual finds themselves making deliveries through a gig economy job just to survive. Despite having worked a lifetime as a carpenter, this person is forced to rely on supplemental income from food deliveries due to the meager Social Security check they receive. For decades, they worked in jobs that offered no retirement benefits, no 401k, no pension. The system failed them, and now, at an age when most should be retiring, they are still working. Why? Because the reality of life without savings is harsh, and no one prepares for the depths of that struggle. This individual is not alone. According to MoneyWise.com, the average American between 55 and 64 has saved $271,320 for retirement. However, when looking at the median, the number plummets to a mere $95,642. For those nearing retirement, this is the cold reality. What can someone living on such a sum expect? Using the 4% rule of retirement withdrawals, that nest egg would yield just $12,000 per year. Can anyone live comfortably on that? Can anyone afford the growing costs of living, let alone enjoy their retirement on such a meager amount? No. Not in today's economy. But it gets worse. What's the magic number for a comfortable retirement today? Northwestern Mutual's study puts it at a range of $1.26 million to $6 million, depending on lifestyle and location. How can anyone expect to reach these numbers when most people can barely save a fraction of what they need? The painful truth is that this is becoming the norm. It's not just a story of an individual, it's the story of many. People who were raised on the promise of Social Security, who believed it would be enough to cover their needs, are finding out that this safety net is inadequate. The elderly, the parents, and the grandparents of today's youth, their futures are clouded by insufficient savings. And the reality of this isn't rare. It's far more common than most realize. There are countless stories of people being forced back into the workforce long after they should have retired, simply because they didn't save enough. Many retirees, or those nearing retirement, still need to make ends meet by mowing lawns, baking cakes, or delivering food. They're entering the gig economy not by choice, but out of sheer necessity. And sometimes even these efforts aren't enough. Take an 81-year-old man who works as a food delivery driver. Working 6 days a week, this individual's only source of income comes from the tips earned during his shifts. His wife cannot work, and their fixed income is simply not enough to survive. This man's story may be extreme, but it is far from rare. The rising cost of living has made it nearly impossible for retirees to maintain any semblance of comfort. And while this man may be well into his 80s, the reality is that many people his age are facing similar circumstances. This problem doesn't stop with gig workers. Even elderly veterans are being forced into the same position. One veteran, after suffering a stroke earlier in the year, had to relearn how to walk. Yet, despite his fragile condition, he was still out delivering goods just to maintain his home. His struggle is heartbreaking, yet it highlights the broader issue. For many elderly people, their retirement savings have either been exhausted or never existed in the first place. Another story shows a great-grandmother who, after retiring as a school lunch lady, took up a delivery job with a pizza chain to make ends meet. The physical toll it took on her body was evident. During one of her deliveries, she fell trying to navigate a porch step, an incident that left her injured. This woman's experience is a snapshot of the struggles of older Americans, people who have worked their entire lives only to be left financially unprepared when they should be enjoying their golden years. These individuals are not isolated cases. They represent a growing trend across the nation. Many elderly people believe Social Security is their ticket to a comfortable retirement. But in truth, that couldn't be further from the reality. Social Security was never meant to be the sole source of income for retirees. The Social Security Act, signed into law by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1935, was designed as a safety net, a temporary form of relief to support the elderly and prevent them from falling into poverty. It was always meant to work in conjunction with other forms of retirement income, personal savings, pensions, or employer-provided retirement benefits. However, pensions are now almost non-existent, and employers are increasingly offering no retirement plans. Social Security, which was always intended to be supplemental, is now expected to cover the lion's share of retirement costs, and it simply cannot. The truth is that without personal savings or investments, many people are destined for a lifetime of financial struggle. Here's where the system fails most people. In 2025, the working-class individual faces an uphill battle when it comes to saving for retirement. With wages stagnating and inflation eating away at what little they earn, building a nest egg seems almost impossible. Yet, it's critical that people start planning, even if it means sacrificing some luxuries in the present. One strategy that can provide financial security in retirement is saving and investing early. Consider a 12-year-old child whose parents set up a Roth IRA with an initial $50,000 investment, earning a consistent 12% return annually. By age 40, that investment would grow to over $1 million. Time, combined with compound interest, works wonders. By age 50, that investment could have grown to $3.7 million. By age 60, it would be worth over $11 million. And by age 70, it could be worth as much as $35 million. Time is the secret weapon. The earlier one starts, the greater the payoff. It's not about making massive contributions right away. It's about getting started, being consistent, and allowing compound interest to work its magic. The difference between someone who starts saving at 18 versus someone who waits until they're 50 is staggering. For the younger generation, the window for exponential growth is still wide open, but it will close quickly if they don't start saving now. Unfortunately, many people are caught up in the culture of instant gratification. They spend money on depreciating assets like new cars and neglect the importance of investing in their future. If only they could redirect some of that spending into long-term investments, they'd be setting themselves up for a future of financial security. A modest car, a reliable vehicle, and no car payments could free up that extra money for investments that grow over time. The reality is that today's younger generation is facing a future much different than their parents or grandparents did. The promises made by Social Security are uncertain at best, and the pension plans that were once the backbone of retirement are no longer available to the majority of workers. If people don't start saving and investing now, they will be facing the same struggles as the elderly gig workers, trying to scrape by in their twilight years. Now the question is, what's next? Will the younger generation wake up and realize the importance of preparing for the future, or will they too fall victim to the same traps that led previous generations into financial hardship? Time is running out, but it's not too late to change course. The choice is yours. Will you prepare for the future, or will you leave it up to fate? What will you do now to avoid the inevitable struggles faced by so many? Subscribe, comment, and share if you want to learn more about how to avoid this fate and take control of your financial future.